In a postseason that's seen its fair share of twists, turns, and superstar heroics, it's the unsung heroes who often define a franchise's staying power. For the Boston Celtics, who entered the 2024-25 playoffs with championship aspirations, that hero emerged in Game 5, Luke Kornet, the 7'2" center, known more for his quirky Kornet contest than box score dominance, stepped up when it mattered most, turning in a masterclass performance that forced everyone from fans to front office executives to reconsider his long-term value to the team. Kornet's 7 block, 9 rebound, 10-point outing on perfect shooting may not rival a Jason Tatum 40-piece or a Jaylen Brown clutch takeover, but for a Celtics team critically thin in the front court, it was a statement. Kornet belongs in this league, and more importantly, he belongs in Boston's plans moving forward. To understand Kornet's value, we must first examine the fragile framework of Boston's big man situation. On paper, the Celtics boast a fearsome 5 in Kristaps, Porzingis, Al Horford, and Kornet. But dig deeper and the cracks start to show. Porzingis, while immensely talented, is as much a health gamble as he is a matchup nightmare. A unicorn in every sense, KP is the perfect stretch 5 when healthy. But when healthy has become more of a prayer than a plan. Porzingis missed significant time this season and was sidelined for much of the playoffs with recurring issues. Al Horford, the consummate professional and steady veteran, is nearing the end of the line. At 38, it's unclear whether he'll return for one final run or retire as one of the most respected Celtics of this era. Even if he stays, relying on him to log 38 minutes in key postseason matchups isn't sustainable. The next name on the roster is Neemias Queta, a developmental big whose flashes have been intriguing but inconsistent, and beyond that, cricket. Celtics are championship contenders with a glaring hole at the backup center spot. It's a fragile, high-stakes reality, and it's precisely why Luke Kornet's re-signing should be among Brad Stevens' top off-season priorities. Let's get one thing straight. Luke Kornet isn't just a warm body in the paint. He's a system-fit rotational piece who has grown into his role with maturity, intelligence, and surprising defensive prowess. During the 2024-25 regular season, Kornet averaged modest stats: 6.2 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks in about 16 minutes per game. But those numbers only scratch the surface of his impact. Kornet's value lies in his defensive positioning, screen setting, and ability to absorb pressure minutes without derailing the team's rhythm. His understanding of Boston's switching schemes allows him to cover ground against quicker wings and stay disciplined against post-centric bigs. While not the quickest laterally, his verticality and timing make him a disruptive presence at the rim. His 7-block performance in Game 5 wasn't an outlier. It was the culmination of years of being in the right places at the right times. On offense, Kornet doesn't need the ball to be effective. He's happy to set hard screens, roll to the rim, and occasionally pop out for a mid-range jumper or an open lane dunk. His 5 of 5 shooting in Game 5 wasn't flashy. It was surgical. He took what the defense gave him and converted with confidence. Sometimes the most valuable pieces of a contending team aren't the ones dropping 30 a night, but the ones who keep the locker room balanced, cohesive, and positive. Kornet is reportedly beloved by his teammates and coaches. He's consistently praised for his work ethic, willingness to stay ready, and positive attitude, even when his minutes fluctuate. That kind of culture-building presence can't be overstated, especially for a team that's chasing a title window with growing urgency. With Tatum and Brown entering their prime, the pressure to win now is immense. Having dependable, low-maintenance veterans like Kornet, who embrace their role and contribute when called upon, is a crucial element of a sustainable championship core. Heading into 25-26 season, the Celtics have to be brutally honest with themselves. Porzingis can't be relied upon for 82 games. Al Horford, if he returns, will be load managed. Queta is a wild card. That leaves Kornet, who has now proven, repeatedly, that he can hold down the fort. The ideal role for Kornet is somewhere in the 18-22 minute range per night, depending on matchup. Against undersized second units, he can feast on the glass and protect the rim. Against stretchier bigs, he can be deployed in zones or drop coverage. He's not a closing five player, but he's a top 8 rotation piece who can give Porzingis or Horford the rest they desperately need. Boston doesn't need Kornet to transform into Brook Lopez. They need him to do what he's already doing, just slightly more often. One key factor in re-signing Kornet is the Celtics' cap situation. With Tatum's Supermax extension looming and Brown already on a $300 million deal, Boston is pressed up against the second apron. They can't afford to chase high-priced free agent centers. Even a mid-level big like Isaiah Hartenstein or Nice Claxton would likely price out of their range. Kornet, on the other hand, represents a cost-effective in-house solution. He knows the system, fits the culture, and won't command a bloated salary. A 2-year, $10 million deal, or something in that ballpark, would be both team-friendly and reflective of his value. It's a win-win scenario that keeps Boston flexible while reinforcing one of their biggest areas of need. Let's assume for a moment that the Celtics decide to let Kornet walk. What's the alternative? Their options will be limited to internal development, hoping Neemias Queta suddenly becomes a consistent rotational big. Minimum deal veterans. Think Tristan Thompson, Dwayne Dedmon, or other aging journeymen. With second-round draft gambles, bringing in a rookie big to develop on the fly. None of those options are better than simply retaining a known quantity in Kornet. And for a team with championship ambitions, experimentation comes with a high cost. Yes, Kornet struggled in Game 6, but so did the entire Celtics roster. The team looked flat, out of sync, and generally overwhelmed. Singling out Kornet for underperformance would ignore the bigger picture. If anything, Game 6 reminded us of the need for consistent energy and depth across all positions, something Kornet typically brings, even when he isn't stuffing the stat sheet. Few players have had a more unconventional rise than Kornet. Undrafted out of Vanderbilt, bouncing between G League stints and multiple NBA rosters, carved out a niche with patience and perseverance. And in today's NBA, with its emphasis on versatility, switchability, and floor spacing, Kornet's brand of unflashy but intelligent basketball has never been more valuable. The Celtics are close, very close, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown anchoring the wings, Drew Holiday and Derek White in the backcourt, and a roster that's built to defend, shoot, and win. Boston's championship window is wide open. But that window can slam shut if they ignore the margins. Re-signing Luke Kornet isn't going to make ESPN headlines. It won't boost ticket sales or dominate Reddit thread, but it could be the quiet, savvy move that keeps Boston stable through the wear and tear of another 82-game season and the grueling gauntlet of the playoffs. Depth wins championship, and Luke Kornet, in his own understated way, is exactly the kind of depth piece that championship teams keep around.
Đây nữa. Đó, mình cắt hết 2 cái đường này đi. Mình cắt đi rồi thì nó sẽ không bị cái nếp gấp này nữa nha mọi người. Rồi bây giờ thì mình lại tiếp tục mình gài vào. Đó mọi người nhìn nhá. Bây giờ mình còn có một khoảng trống ở bên trong cơ. Nên lúc mà mình nhét bút vào trong mình sẽ nhìn thấy được cả những cái thân bút các kiểu đây này. Mình nhét thử cho mọi người xem nhé. Đó, mình nhét rồi, mình sẽ nhìn thấy cả bên trong này. Nhìn rất là hay. Hoặc là mình nhét những cái vật nho nhỏ chứ không hẳn là mình nhét mẫu bút đâu. Những cái đồ nhỏ nhỏ mình sợ rơi mất hết mình nhét vào. Và có cái lỗ hổng này thì mình có thể quan sát được bên trong có những cái gì ở trong nhá. Bây giờ mình sẽ làm đáy cho cái ống cắm bút này. Mình sẽ tận dụng cái miếng bìa này. Ban đầu khi mình cắt cái mình vuông này ra này, mình dư cái đoạn này. Đấy, bây giờ mình sẽ tận dụng nó để làm đáy nhé. Hai đầu của nó là hai cái hình tam giác này y hệt nhau mọi người ạ. Nên mọi người sử dụng cái đầu nào để làm đáy cũng được nhé, vì nó y hệt nhau. Mình sẽ sử dụng keo nến nhé. Mình dán đáy. Rồi, bây giờ thì mình sẽ áp xuống. Mình sẽ phải chờ một lúc thì nó mới khô ra được nha mọi người. Mình sẽ chỉ cắt nhỏ ra như thế này thôi, để cho mình dễ cầm mình trang trí. Còn một lúc nữa mới khô ra thì mình mới cắt được. Bây giờ mình sẽ sang mình làm đồ trang trí nhé. Đây mình sẽ sử dụng những cái sốt nhũ như này. Mình gật mặt sau ra. Mình kẻ. Mình đánh dấu cái đoạn 2 cm nha. Rồi, mình đánh dấu 2 điểm. Giờ mình nối 2 điểm đến lại, mình sẽ được một cái dài có độ rộng là 2 cm. Đây mình sẽ được giải sốt có độ rộng 2 cm như thế này. Đây nha mọi người. Bây giờ mình tiếp tục mình chia nhỏ nó ra. Mình chia nó thành những đoạn 2 cm. Rồi, bây giờ thì mình sẽ nối lại nhé, nối những điểm đã đánh dấu. Rồi, mình sẽ được những cái ô vuông như thế này. Ô vuông có cạnh là 2 cm nha. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ kẻ các đường chéo để tạo ra hình tam giác. Đó, mình nối các cái đỉnh của hình vuông lại thì sẽ tạo được hình tam giác nha. Rồi, bây giờ thì mình sẽ cắt rời những hình tam giác này ra.